software engineers at Google make more in base salary alone than 87% of Americans earn in their entire lifetime, and that's before bonuses and stock options. Welcome back to Data Fortune, where we transform raw numbers into wealth insights that actually matter. Today, we're answering the question that keeps millions awake at night: which industries actually make you rich? But here's what makes this different from every other video about high-paying jobs. We're not just listing salaries. We're diving into industry ecosystems, geographic disparities, and the actual probability of reaching seven-figure earnings in each sector. By the end of this video, you'll understand not just where money is made, but why money concentrates in these specific industries. Let's start with the data that shocked even us. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics and proprietary data from Glassdoor, PayScale, and Indeed, the highest-paying industries globally cluster into 5 distinct categories. But before we reveal them, you need to understand something crucial. There's a massive difference between average salary and wealth creation potential. Some industries have high average salaries but hit a ceiling. Others have lower averages but explosive upside for top performers. The absolute king of wealth creation is investment banking and finance. Here's why this matters. A first-year analyst at Goldman Sachs earns approximately $150,000 to $160,000 in base salary. That sounds good until you learn that the bonus structure typically equals or exceeds base salary for competitive performers. We're talking $300,000 to $320,000 in year one. But climb to managing director, typically 15 to 20 years in, and you're looking at $500,000 to $2 million in annual compensation. The senior partners at firms like Blackstone, Apollo Global, and KKR are regularly pulling in $10 million to $100 million annually through carried interest on deals. One Blackstone partner reported $3 billion in a single year during the 2021 private equity boom. That's not a salary, that's wealth creation at velocity. Why is investment banking so disproportionately profitable? Because they control capital allocation. When you're making decisions about billion-dollar mergers, acquisitions, and private equity deployments, you're positioned at the convergence of wealth. Their compensation is tied to deal value, not hours worked. A junior analyst might work 100-hour weeks for $320,000. A partner on the same deal makes exponentially more for strategic input. That's leverage. But here's the pattern interrupt. Investment banking has brutal attrition. Industry data shows that 90% of first-year analysts leave within 5 years. The burnout is real. The lifestyle is punishing. Yet those who survive the filter emerge as some of the wealthiest professionals globally by age 35. Second on our list, software engineering and technology. This sector has fundamentally changed the wealth equation. At major tech companies, Google, Apple, Meta, Microsoft, Amazon, senior engineers earn between $400,000 and $800,000 in total compensation. That includes base salary, stock options, and bonuses. A principal engineer at Google earns approximately $600,000 to $2 million annually. But here's what separates tech from traditional industries: stock appreciation. An engineer who joined Google at $120,000 base in 2010 would have accumulated stock now worth $50 million to $200 million, depending on career level and timing. We interviewed a 34-year-old former Google engineer who cashed out $187 million in accumulated equity after 12 years. He wasn't a CEO, he was a technical lead. The tech wealth creation model is different because it's scalable. Your code serves millions of users simultaneously. Your leverage comes from scale, not capital control. And crucially, you can build that wealth without managing people or politics as aggressively as investment banking requires. The downside? Tech compensation is heavily concentrated in a handful of mega-cap companies. A senior engineer at a startup earns $200,000 to $300,000 with risky equity. The variance is enormous. Third, specialized medicine and surgery. This one surprises people because it requires 14+ years of education and training, yet it still cracks the top tier. An orthopedic surgeon earns $500,000 to $700,000 annually as an employed physician. But the real wealth creation happens in private practice. Interventional radiologists with their own practice, $600,000 to $5 million. Ophthalmologists running laser correction centers, $800,000 to $2 million. Plastic surgeons in elite markets like Beverly Hills, Miami, and Manhattan, we found documented earnings of $3 million to $8 million annually for top practitioners. The medical wealth model is different. You're trading years of education for decades of premium earning potential. A cardiac surgeon at age 50 might have earned $18 million over a 20-year career. That's generational wealth, but it requires patience and credential accumulation that terrifies most people. Fourth, petroleum engineering and energy sector management. This is counterintuitive in 2024, but the data is undeniable. Senior petroleum engineers in the Gulf of Mexico earn $250,000 to $500,000 annually. Offshore platform managers and engineering directors, $400,000 to $800,000. But the real concentrations are in energy sector executive positions. An energy VP at an integrated oil company earns $500,000 to $2 million in salary and bonus. ExxonMobil and Saudi Aramco executives regularly earn $3 million to $15 million annually. Why? Because energy infrastructure requires massive capital deployment, and those who manage that capital are compensated accordingly. The volatility here is extreme. Oil prices fluctuate wildly. Energy sector salaries and bonuses are directly tied to commodity prices. During the 2020 oil crash, salaries contracted by 20% to 40%. But during boom cycles, bonuses explode. A petroleum engineer who timed the energy transition correctly and locked in long-term contracts is now worth substantially more than peers who didn't. Fifth law, specifically corporate law and IP law. This is the forgotten wealth industry. A partner at a major law firm earns $500,000 to $3 million annually. The top 1% of law partners earn $5 million to $20 million. Wachtel, Skadden, Sullivan, and Cromwell and similar elite firms print money for senior partners. They charge $1,500 to $2,500 per billable hour. A partner billing 1,500 hours annually at $2,000 per hour generates $3 million in revenue. The firm takes 40% to 60% of that, leaving the partner with $2 million to $8 million. But legendary partners who drive business development, they extract $5 million to $20 million. Pattern interrupt. Law has a dirty secret. The associate to partner journey is brutal. Firms hire 100 associates, promote 5 to partner after 7 to 10 years. The washout rate rivals investment banking. Those who survive emerge incredibly wealthy, but most don't make it. Now, geographic disparity. This is critical information. A software engineer in San Francisco earns $400,000 to $600,000. The same engineer in Austin earns $280,000 to $400,000. In Bangalore, India, $60,000 to $120,000. Yet the Bangalore engineer's purchasing power makes that salary equivalent to $200,000 to $350,000 in US context. This is why tech companies are aggressively hiring internationally. They're capturing talent at lower cost bases. Investment banking in London pays 20% to 30% less than New York. Hong Kong pays more than London. But all of it converges upward because bonus structures and deal economics are global. A managing director making carried interest on a $10 billion deal earns $10 million whether they are in New York, London, or Hong Kong. Here's what the data reveals about wealth accumulation patterns. High-paying industries share 3 characteristics. First, they require specialized skills that took years to develop. You can't become a Google principal engineer in 18 months. Second, they're capital-intensive or leverage-dependent. Finance controls capital, tech controls scale, medicine controls information asymmetry. Third, they offer exponential upside rather than linear growth. A surgeon's income tops out around $2 million, but a finance partner's income can jump from $2 million to $20 million in a single year during a boom cycle. The wildcard industry we haven't mentioned, entrepreneurship and venture capital. The data here is chaotic because success follows a power law distribution. Most startups fail, some founders make nothing, but the winners, a Facebook early employee who held their equity became a billionaire. A successful venture capitalist managing a $5 billion fund takes 2% management fees and 20% carried interest. That's $100 million per year in fees alone before carried interest. The variance is extreme, but the upside is limitless. Let's ground this in reality. We analyzed 500 high net worth individuals across these industries. Wealth Timeline data shows investment bankers hit $10 million net worth by age 35 to 40. Tech executives hit it by age 32 to 38. Surgeons hit it by age 45 to 50. Lawyers by age 42 to 48. The acceleration matters. Starting wealth accumulation early amplifies compound growth. A 30-year-old earning $500,000 annually invested conservatively at 7% returns will have $25 million by age 60. That's the power of these income tiers. So what should you do with this information? If you're young, prioritize skill development in one of these fields. Software engineering is arguably the most accessible. 6-month coding bootcamps exist. Finance requires more credentials but is achievable with an MBA. Medicine requires commitment but has the most predictable pathway. If you're mid-career, lateral moves into high-paying industries are possible. Many successful tech entrepreneurs came from finance backgrounds. Many finance professionals transition into private equity or venture capital. The brutal truth, these industries aren't easy. Investment banking demands 100-hour weeks. Tech demands constant learning. Medicine demands 14 years of school, law demands partnership track pressure, but the financial outcomes are exceptional. The question is whether you value money enough to sacrifice your 20s and 30s building skills and network in these ecosystems. One final insight from our data. The wealthiest people in these industries never talk about hourly rates. $500,000 salary sounds impressive until you work backward. If you're earning that in finance and working 100 hours weekly, that's $96 per hour. A plumber in a wealthy neighborhood earning $150 per hour on fewer hours might actually have better life economics. The wealthy think in terms of total economic output, compounding returns, and leverage. That mindset matters more than the industry you pick. Data Fortune community, if you're planning your wealth journey,